Howdy. Welcome to Practical Principles. This is Practical Prince. Today we're doing Talking Tarot. So drop in your questions or just hang around and chat. But we'll be doing readings as we are able to. We'll do our best to get through everyone. I realize some people have poor connections or limited time. Like if you drop a question and it's clear enough, it has to be really ambiguous for me to skip, but we'll answer it and you can come back to the video later if you need to. We do stream to multiple platforms. Hey Rada, doing well. How are you? It's been a while since I've seen you. Yep. And I assume it's you, even though the R has switched to lowercase. But yes. Yeah, go ahead and ask your question. I'm putting this deck back. Although there's a good chance we're going to use that one. There's a couple people. Okay, Esther, we'll do you second. Rada's putting in her question now. And then Lavina. I mean, if you have a question, by all means, go ahead and ask. But right now, you would be third. Happy Friday. From now till the end of August. Lavina, you would be third. So we've got Rada's, she just dropped, and then we've got Esther's. She's second. So you would be third. What will be the energies between me and... Let me highlight that. Oh, two questions. Okay. Well, we'll start with this one. I mean, we could either do the Destiny deck. I feel like we've done that one a lot for you. Or we could do Cosma. Which would you prefer for this question? Okay. All right, you're good, Lavina. It'll be on the video if you need to drop off for whatever reason. But that's clear enough. I mean, both have their place. I mean, if it were more relationship, I would do Riche, but where you're specifically asking about energies, I think I prefer Cosma for that. But that's where it was kind of 50-50. And in this case, I didn't have a strong impression either way. So either deck would be good for this. Okay. Sometimes I do, but I usually get the impression, or they've got two questions and it's really just mix and match. Okay. Let's get our camera up and make it big. There we go. So we've got 5 cards, but spread out. This was present energy down here. This is a tempered pair. So you've got the primary and then the second one behind it moderating it. This, I got the sense, was a progression of energies. So it's starting here and leading into the next things. So, but for currently, the Mender, tempered by sacrifice. I mean, those might be self-evident, but we'll go through them. 4 of trees, the orbs, and then up there we've got sleeping ships. That one's specific to this deck. So I'll definitely need to check on that. I mean, first blush, I mean, just looking at the names, this one, it looks like there would be a mending in the relationship going on, but there needs to be some sacrifice in order to make that happen. I'm not quite sure what. And then for the other ones, yeah, I'm just not as familiar with the Cosmos side of things. 4 of trees would be 4 of pentacles. But yeah, that's not coming to mind right now, so I'll need to read up on that. Let me set this aside. And we'll just do them in that order. So we'll start with the Mender. There she is. So this would normally be the Queen of Chalices, or the Queen of Cups. Compassion, calm, comfort. The Mender has a comforting presence that imbibes those around them with a state of calm. in a reading, it's a very positive sign of restoration and reflection. Through the mender's compassion, they have the ability to heal, even without intentionally doing so. A lot can be learned from the mender on being soft, compassionate, and kind. If you feel as if you have been too rough lately, the mender may show itself as a reminder to embrace the softer side of yourself. So, positive. I mean, there's that compassion. I think restoration, that's really where the mender is getting its name. But now let's get that tempered part, the sacrifice. One of the major arcana. So this would normally be the hanged man, letting go, moving on, giving up control. Sacrifice comes up in a reading when it may be time to let something go. If sacrifice is in order, then move through troubling times with the grace and strength you need to realize that your karmic debt is lessening. Whether big or small, sacrifice can feel like you are losing a limb. Letting go of something is never an easy feat, but know that from sacrifice comes love and understanding. When we let go of one thing, we often forget that we are also giving to something else. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is that needs to be let go, and I don't know if that's your side or Rish, really. But I mean, we've got a pretty good spirit with the mender. I think, yeah. I don't know how sacrifice will play out, but that's the only caveat, I guess I should say to that. Going on to the progression. Starts with the Four of Trees. Greed, possessiveness, materialism. This disparity of wealth is not uncommon and is something we still see today. If you have pulled this card, your feeling of disconnectedness and apathy, or even anger towards the situation, may not be wrong. Your insecurities have a place, and they need to be confronted. You're putting in the work and not getting nearly the same reward back in return. Sadly, the grasp of material wealth is strong and intoxicating, and for some, they cannot see through it. If you feel that your time is not valued, confront the problem. If it does not work itself out, it may be time to put your energy elsewhere. So, yeah. I mean, usually other decks, it focuses on the apathy part. This one, it sort of feels like it's focusing on the, I guess, the possessiveness. I mean, there's the greed, but really it's saying, if this thing isn't working out, then it's not really yours. You'll need to let it go and let in what is really yours and put in the time where it really does belong. So, but yeah, that could be, well, I mean, you've got the mender now. So maybe the sacrifice doesn't happen initially, and that's why Four of Trees is a problem. Let's go to the orbs. That's the next one in the progression. So this would normally be strength. Bravery, strength, success. When the orbs comes up in a reading, it is an exclamation point and declares that you have the bravery, determination, and will to overcome any obstacles that may come your way. Fear can cripple a powerful mind, so shake the shroud and channel your fear into strength. Once you believe in yourself, you will find many future challenges suddenly conquerable. So, probably some resolve coming out of the Four of Trees and that hardship there, or possibly from sacrifice. Either of those could be leading into the strength that you get for the orbs. And then in the end, we have Sleeping Ships. Rest, inspiration, growth. We expect things only grow in an upwards trajectory, but this is not always the case. We search for inspiration, expecting it to be where we once found it. While some parts of your inspiration may feel like they are withering now, new inspiration will grow in the shadows. It will plant seeds for future thoughts and future epiphanies, and you will grow and find new paths. These are the things we learn from sleeping ships. And that is the beauty of being human. We are always growing, even when we're resting. So yeah, the impression I'm getting from that, like you'll have that strength, um, but you'll be going different directions than you're used to, at least. What that is, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I mean, the text here has a emphasis on the rest and whatnot, and so, but yeah, I'm not really feeling that. It's just that things will be in a different direction than they used to be. Um, yeah, yeah. So, and that could come from the Four of Trees or the sacrifice after you've let go of those things and you're starting that new direction. And you'll just be taking strength from the orbs. Um, Sleeping ships? No, that's what they call a bonus card. It's not part of a traditional tarot deck. It's not one of the um, yes, sleeping ships. That's the name of the card. Oh, let me emphasize it. And let me just pull this up. And so you can see, for example, in contrast, the name, they both have that. Up here, we have the normal tarot number. So this is normally number 8 in the major arcana. This one has a question mark, and that's because it's not part of the traditional tarot as a bonus card. They decided it was part of the major arcana, which is why you've got the borders that are the same. But it doesn't have a number because it's not part of the traditional deck. So, yeah. Let me go ahead and set that down. So, think you can take the Four of Trees? I think that's really the only concern. I mean, if there's a sacrifice on your part, I think you'll be able to handle that. So, it's really only the Four of Trees that gives me any pause for concern. And let me go find the other question. I think for this one, we'll use the Prisma deck. So the sister deck to this one. Okay. What's next for my career on Instagram and YouTube? Sure. There's a few people I'm reading before you. You can come back to the video if you need to later, but we'll answer the question. Okay. So we got 2 cards for the business. I got a third card. I get the impression this is more a personal thing rather than professional career. But go ahead and flip. So 8 of Swords, 3 of Wands. So pretty straightforward. 3 of Wands, you've put in the energy to start a little flame, is what's being depicted here. And it'll just take some care and some nurture to keep it going, to let it build. So that's just putting in diligence. You don't need to overdo it. You've started the fire at this point. 8 of Swords, I mean, it'll be rough, but it sounds like you'll go through some hard mental stuff. It is really what it is. You're in your own head, which understandable when you're working on social media. So yeah, I'd watch out for this. Let me read this in case there's advice there, but yeah, because the deck sometimes matters. But then the personal stuff, the personal note, is Knight of Swords. And this one I'll also need to double check on. So we'll just read up on these swords. Let me set this down. So 8 of Swords. One more. There we go. Self-imprisonment, despair, victim mentality. Grief and anguish can hone the mind until nothing is left but the fine knife's edge. In this state of keen despair, you may actually be blind to the wide landscape that promises a release from a self-imposed imprisonment. The swords are driven into the ground. You are not. Pick yourself up and survey the full context of your situation. And if you go back and look at the picture, yeah, it was referring to that as part of that. So yeah, basically that's the advice there, is to have an open mind, really have a full picture of the situation. And that way you'll realize what you're doing to hold yourself back, and frankly what the reality is. So that's the advice there. That's the only concern on that front. But then we got the Knight of Swords for the personal note. Not the Queen. Ambitious, fixated on goals, determined. For all his ardor, the knight can be cold and unfeeling. Focused only on achieving victory, he neglects empathy, compassion, and restraint. If you find him in a draw, look deeply into your methods and means. If you find your approaches lukewarm or weak-willed, imbue yourself with his cavalier determination. But if you are overly imperious or fixated only on achieving your goals, it may be time to take a step back. Consider the feelings of others and allow new energy to flow into your life. So, I mean, this is assuming that you're being too narrow-minded for the most part. mean, it could be that you need more energy and focus. I doubt that's the case, though. The impression I'm getting is that you're too narrow-minded on that, which sort of makes sense if you're going to be struggling with the Eight of Swords. But this one isn't just for business. This is for you personally. So, I mean, both of these, Eight of Swords and the Knight of Swords, reflect from that step back. And you might want to just set a couple checkpoints for yourself throughout the month. Or I guess this one didn't have a month time frame, but so yeah, a couple checkpoints. You can figure out the time frame, and yeah, just take some time. Try to look at the big picture. Yeah. Let me set this aside. We had Esther's question. Will I ever work in fashion industry? I mean, I've got a yes/no spread I like for this sort of stuff. Would we use the Destiny deck, though? Or Prisma for the insight? No problem. I feel like Destiny is probably the better choice. Let me switch to that setup. And the deck. Kind of need that. So let me go ahead and share. I have this on a digital guide, so I can go ahead and show. Oh, catch up. There we go. We can go ahead and show this. Might be hard to read if you're on a mobile device or something. Sorry, usually I shuffle. It's just a tendency of mine. But I did not need to. Okay. I mean, the spread itself is fairly simple, just in that it requires 3 cards. But we're going to get a little more information out of this. So there's the 3. This one, the card itself has some meaning, and this has this one and this one, but this one has more weight. This one, it has a light touch. So we've got Goddess Joya. She'll be a yes card. 2 of Cups. I'll check, but that's a yes. And then 8 of Wands. Yeah, so 2 of Cups is yes. 8 of Wands is the thing I need to check. Looks like that's a yes too. So yes. But then we've got a message from Goddess Joya and then a lighter touch from 2 of Cups. And I'll just do them in that order. Let me set this down. And we'll just keep the guide up and go through there. So, Goddess. It doesn't want to find her that way. Let's just go for the name. There she is. Life Path 22 is a card that symbolizes the Master Manifester, or the Master Builder. When you receive this card in a reading, the message is clear that in whatever you are working on, you must be an inspirational presence. This card is very powerful in a reading because it talks about your impact in whatever you are seeking. This card shows up to remind you that you have an enhanced ability to apply your spiritual understanding to your life. You are a visionary. You will have the ability to make it happen, to turn the dreams into a reality, and to build whatever structures are necessary to create the success you are striving for. So, strong reinforcement for the yes you just got. Let's look at that light Two of Cups. I mean, the notes on it are love and peace. Represents union, harmony, partnership, peace, and love. Perhaps there is a deeper commitment that is occurring in a current relationship, such as an engagement, moving in together, or marriage. This is an auspicious card for a creative partnership as well. This can include one that's writing, yours would be fashion, of course. The Two of Cups is a card of reconciliation and ongoing negotiations, which will be resolved in your favor. Enjoy the deep love that is coming your way in all aspects of your life. You deserve it. So, auspicious for creative. Admittedly, this is a lesser note. There might be the ongoing negotiations and reconciliation. That might be the thing that it's nodding to. But you've got a very strong yes from the spread, and then again from Goddess Joya on being able to manifest that. So, Kanupriya, there's a few people ahead of you. Do I accept donations? Not yet. I actually need to set up PayPal and whatnot so that I can do that sort of thing. You're welcome, Esther. But that should be happening soon. I did a little research and I found a bank, so now it's just a matter of setting things up. But once I do that, I'm going to go through and update links and whatnot so that that's easier to find. Thanks for asking, though. So let's see. After Esther, we had Lavina. And it is Varun. So, a number of questions here. Does he have feelings? Could there be marriage? If so, when? Yeah, this is a Destiny deck question. Let me check something real quick. Varun just sounds familiar, but maybe that was... Okay. Yeah, no. I thought we might have done a reading for Varun before, but... No. They must have changed their question or done something else. Okay, so I guess we're starting with the first one since it's kind of fundamental. And for this, we only got one card. So this is the feelings for you. And that is Seven of Cups. So you'll see the notes here, opportunity and confusion. Don't know if you can see the cups clearly. The issue with these cups, I mean, there's opportunity as it says. The issue is that mixed in with the various opportunities is fantasy, is fiction. So that's where the confusion comes from. The right way or ways isn't clear. So, I mean, the essence I'm getting from this as far as feelings go is mixed feelings. There's some good, there's some bad, and they would need to sort it out. That's really what you have to do with confusion is work through it. So let me... Yeah, that needs to be sorted out. There's not really a point in asking about the marriage and the timeline till that's done. It'd be sort of short-circuiting the process. Well, not even then, because that assumes you still get a correct result. But yeah, he needs to go through that. Once he's through that, we could try asking about marriage and timeline. But for now, yeah, he's got to work through that. So yeah, that's where we're at there. Let's find Professor Sarab. Is that an H? Yeah. Okay. Sarab. More improvements. Yeah, these both have their place. Okay, so we've got the Lost Forest, which is usually for introspective, inner work. We're going to get some answers on that front from there. We've also got Prisma, which in this case, it's more for the business, if you want to refer to it that way, for your practice with others, stuff like that. And now I've got to figure out if this is just one with both mixed or if they're separate. So, and I think we're probably just mixing them. Okay. I need to shuffle. Right. I'll show you the cards. Unfortunately, I don't know. I want to say that's French. Marseilles. But yeah, we'll show you the cards when we flip them. That's it for that right now. Sorry. Yeah, so we read for you, it's on the video. In summary, we just got 7 of Cups for feelings, which indicates he's got confusion. I couldn't get a read for marriage or anything, so that needs to be resolved first, and then we could look at it. You might already know based off of how he resolves that. But basically, mixed feelings, some good, some detracting. But yeah, so he needs to sort that out. Hey, no problem, Lavina. As good as we can do about that. Okay, Novella, I see your question. We'll get there. Speaking to Lavina, No problem. Yeah, Tilavena. That's just going to be too complicated. And if anything, you'll want a deck that speaks to you. I mean, Sarab has suggested just Rider Waite, any of its forms. That's uh, probably the most fundamental basic tarot. So that's one starting place. I didn't do such a deck when I started. These decks just spoke to me for the most part. There's a fifth deck that, nope, never mind. Yeah, that was trash. But so I'd probably just seek that inspiration directly yourself as you're searching for a deck. But yeah, I mean, because trying to get a specific name or an impression from the cards, that'll be really difficult. And especially where you're trying to connect inner, it'll be better if you, yeah, just do that from your own inspiration. Sorry, let me finish, because we're still getting cards. Sorry, I'm just getting the impression we also need this one. So, Okay. Ended up being more complicated than I would have expected, but that's okay. Let's show the cards. You can see most of them. Okay. So we got this one. This would be geared towards your practice with clients. This is a loosely tempered pair. There's the primary card. There's that influence. This secondary card has a tempering effect. In this case, it's a lightly tempering effect, but an effect nonetheless. This card, visually, it's in the same space. Like if I could suspend it, it would probably be here somewhere. So these are overlapping in a sense, covering the same area. But for now, I'll set that aside. These two are a pair. So they go together. They'll be speaking to, something jointly. Over here, we ended up using the Cosma deck as well, which I usually use for angel messages and such. Here we have a tempered pair. So primary in front, secondary in the back. This is more common. It really does have a tempering influence. It's not as light as what we have over here. And then this card is sort of like a half step before that. So I'm sort of getting the sense that these will lead into this in a phase. But when we get to this point, you'll start this step, but then you'll still be working on it when we get to the tempered pair. That's the impression I get. But so let's flip the cards now. We've got 10 of Wands. So pretty completeness here. The one floating would be 9 of Oceans. And then here we've got King of Skies, loosely tempered by 3 of Oceans. Our pair here is 5 of Fire and 6 of Oceans. Our half step is 10 of Trees. And then our tempered pair is the Mender, tempered by Sleeping Ships, which you saw earlier. Both of these, well, depending on when you hopped on. We'll read through. I don't have all of these memorized. Some I do, but at this point, there's just such a mix and match. It'll be easier to go through the guides. So we'll just work left to right. And we'll probably do the 9 before we do the loosely tempered pair. So yeah, let me start digging into that. Thank you. 10 of Wands. I feel like I get the 10 of Pentacles a fair amount, but 10 of Wands, not so much. And usually there's a completeness with a 10, but... So the notes here are burden, responsibility, commitment. After a harrowing journey fraught with danger and conflict, you've accomplished what you set out for. But take caution from the furrowed brow of our hero. His hard work has not brought him more happiness, merely more labor. This is the downside of leadership. When you have proven your mettle, you are given freer rein and greater responsibilities. You may be overburdened, eager to shed the weight. Will you carry on in your endeavor, or yield control of it to others? Which is best for you? So yeah, it sounds like you've built up your practice to, a sizable point. And yeah, you'll just need to figure out what to do there, because there's only so much weight you can carry yourself. But then obviously yielding some of that to others. Well, business is kind of a baby, so hard to let go. And that was the only one there. So moving on to the Lost Forest cards. This guide is briefer, so we'll just hit the keywords. We'll start with the Nine of Oceans. Contentment, satisfaction, gratitude. So that's what we're getting from the Nine of Oceans. And then our loosely tempered pair starts with King of Skies. Authority, truth, clarity of mind. And that's tempered slightly by Three of Oceans. So celebration, friendship, collaborations. So just respecting that you're the leader, you've got that truth and perspective, but there's a touch of collaboration that we need to take care of. Don't be too imperious. And then there was the Nine of Oceans there as well. So contentment, satisfaction, gratitude. Yeah. So I guess those are things you're working on in parallel. The contentment and gratitude, and then the authority tempered by the recognition, that other people are needed. That collaboration is important. So going on to the duo, the pair, we had Five of Fire, tension, conflict, disagreements. And that's paired with Six of Oceans. Nostalgia, childhood memories, innocence, joy. So the impression I'm getting is that there will be disagreements, basically. And part of that comes from tradition, what you're used to, what's familiar, and has worked well and served you well. So, and I'm guessing that's going to stem out of the collaborations that you end up starting. I mean, you've got an awareness of it now. Let's go ahead and get into the Cosmo cards. I'm not sure that they'll, doesn't necessarily tell us how those conflicts end. Well, we'll see. We'll get it. We'll get our impressions as we read. We'll go ahead and do the half step, the Ten of Trees. Fulfillment, dreams coming true, joy. And this would normally be Ten of Pentacles. While we find ourselves back in the desert, we now have the foundation and determination to overcome adversity, knowing that hardships can be made easier by working together. Through the suit of trees, we witness mankind working to coexist with nature. The Jeweled Tower is a card that speaks to fulfillment of dreams. When it shows up, it is a sign that this true joy is sitting there, ready for you to grab it. It is a greater feeling than any material possession could bring you. This is a time to rejoice and enjoy the simplicity of feeling fulfilled. So it sounds like the disagreements, that'll get worked out. The collaboration will end up going forward and being fruitful. So, and that was a half step into our tempered pair, the Mender and Sleeping Ships. I know we read them, but we'll go ahead and do it again. The Mender, so normally Queen of Chalices. Compassion, calm, comfort. The Mender has a comforting presence that imbibes those around them with a state of calm. In a reading, it's a very positive sign of restoration and reflection. Through the Mender's compassion, they have the ability to heal, even without intentionally doing so. A lot can be learned from the Mender on being soft, compassionate, and kind. If you feel as if you have been too rough lately, the mender may show itself as a reminder to embrace the softer side of yourself. And as a follow-up to the Ten of Trees, I think that makes a lot of sense. The accomplishment that comes there. But the mender is tempered by sleeping ships. And you might get the other spin on this. Let's see. Rest, inspiration, growth. We expect things only grow in an upwards trajectory, but this is not always the case. We search for inspiration, expecting it to be where we once found it. While some parts of your inspiration may feel like they are withering now, new inspiration will grow in the shadows. It will plant seeds for future thoughts and future epiphanies, and you will grow and find new paths. These are the things we learn from sleeping ships, and that is the beauty of being human. We are always growing, even when we're resting. So yeah, and that's tempering the mender. So yeah, it seems like in that calm that comes out of the Ten of Trees, part of it is because you're growing in a different direction, not so much on whatever this collaboration was. Probably growing, yeah, spiritually. So, yeah. Okay. Any questions? That was a lot of cards. I realize you're familiar with tarot, so thanks. Excellent. There was novella. Just let me check. I think there might have been, yeah. Kanu Priya. I want to say that'll catch us up. Because, yeah, we did burn. Okay. So we've got. Hey, Luis. Yeah. You're on Facebook. Yeah. Go ahead. Add me, point me at. I don't know what your. Well, you'll let me know there how best to connect. So, Kanu Priyas. And then after this, we've got Novella's question. And then Luis, if she has one. All right, used just about every deck. What are we going to need for in this one? Will my person contact me? Any actions from him in August? It feels like... okay. Thanks, Sarup. Yeah, something. Let me just do a quick shuffle. Oh, yeah. There you go. Because we need Destiny deck, and we used everything but that. Yeah, just let me put these aside so that I can focus on that. finally. Will my person contact me in August? Any actions from him in August? Okay, oh, did this reload? Yeah, it did. One sec. It's sort of the yes, no. But we're not following the guide. So we're not doing it the usual way. So not doing the guide, but it's similar idea. We've got our 3, which will get the yes, no. This is a tempered pair, so that's a more detailed thing. This, I think, is also relevant directly. I kind of get the feeling that this is filler. And I've had that before when using the guide, but I still use the guide in those cases. In this case, for some reason, we're not using that. So 8 of Swords. Yeah, that's not promising. Ace of Cups. That is on the yes side. And then the Empress. Okay. So, I mean, that would be a yes, but may take time. And with the 8 of Swords, that makes a lot of sense. And then the tempering of the Ace of Cups is the Ace of Swords. So, yeah, interesting. So, probably what's the holdup is the 8 of Swords. I don't know if that would be, well, yeah, it would be him. So, he's working with some self-entrapment he's got some stuff in his head, basically, that he needs to work through. Could you help? Possibly. But yeah, this stuff can be delicate, so don't be. Yeah. Yeah, if anything, I'm inclined to give them their space. Let them work through that. Yeah, give them space first. They'll need that first. So here, Ace of Cups, beginnings, love. So very positive that something will start. This is tempered by Ace of Swords, success and decisions. And let me get that impression. Yeah, I mean, it seems positive, just on face value. Yeah. But something about that Ace of Swords seems sharp. So yeah, I mean, you've got the beginnings, you've made the decision. It's romantic. I feel like somebody's going to get hurt initially. So, beginning of the relationship, and it makes sense while it's new and whatnot. That little things can have bigger impacts than we realize. But yeah, this feels like a damper to me, even though the words and whatnot don't indicate that. But yeah, assuming I don't know if this is someone you want to be with long term, whether that's just emotionally or objectively. But yeah, you're going to have some initial hardship. Assuming you get over that, well, I mean, then we're probably to another month. So, yeah, I would do what you can to prepare for that. And that's probably just being open-minded, calm, and realizing when you need to give your space or give yourself space to heal. Obviously, he needs it up front. Yeah, I feel like it's more likely this would hurt you than him. It's possible it could go the other way, though. But yeah. Maybe. Nudging you, getting you ready. Yeah. So yeah. And then, yeah, that was just to flush it out. So it'll take time, space. Yeah, I don't know how else to prepare you for that. It'll hurt. Hopefully, it's nothing more than a prick, but I get the feeling that it's probably going to be a bit more than that. Oh, it was small this whole time. I'm so sorry. Let's give you the cards big. So, Eight of Swords, Ace of Cups, the Ace of Swords, the Empress. This one needs the lead, and then this tempered pair. So, but we've talked through it at this point. So, okay. I'll go ahead and set this down. Hey, Laudine. Let's see. There was Kanye Novella, I'm pretty sure, had her question. There we are. Reconciliation. Oh, you had a second one? Oh, no, I answered that. That was about donations, right? I mean, that's fast enough to answer. Oops. Do you accept donations? Right now, no. I did just get registered and whatnot. I was researching banks. I've settled on that. I still need to set stuff up with them, and then I've got to rework links so that people can find stuff. So right now, no. But I am going to open that up at some point. Any actions in August? Oh yeah, that was yeah. I mean, we had that beginning, that very middle card. So, yeah, as far as like specifically what actions, I wouldn't know, but it would be the start of something. And it's during that start, probably shortly thereafter, that somebody gets hurt, not intentionally, but yeah. So yeah, I mean that was for the August timeframe. Both of that for will they contact you and what's going to happen. So, but yeah, initially they need space. Yeah, no problem. Back to novella. I feel like this would usually be a Destiny deck question, but it seems Prisma is the one for today. No problem. Glad we cleared that up. Okay. Any possible? Let's switch the mats. Oop, sorry about that. I mean, we're still using. Are we? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we're using the Destiny's Yes No. Yeah, there's a list. I don't have a way of displaying it. I just go back through the chat to make sure I got everyone. But yeah, go ahead and ask your question, Ladina. Or sorry, Ladine. And I mean, it's just a matter of time. If you need to go for some reason, it'll still be on the video. So, but right now we've got novella, and Luis did a DM. I want to say you'll just be the next one then. Yeah. Yeah, so you would be next after novella. And so for novella, we're doing the, let me pull up that yes, no spread. For reference. Maybe shuffle something. Didn't you send me a message? Or are we, because I'm only going to be able to go back and forth so much. Oh, you just want to. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so clarification. Um, Novella, we're doing now, obviously. Then we'll do Luis. She's asked me privately, and then Laudine will do you to maintain the order. Okay, and yeah, that question is clear enough. No, I haven't read for you already, Luis. I just thought you wanted it, um, well, privately. Um, I mean, I can answer publicly, I guess. It's just, yeah. Um, yeah. No, you're good. I have shuffled these cards plenty. They should be ready. I feel like we may have an exception, but we'll see when we get there. Okay, so cards. Okay, Laudine, that's good. So we've got Two of Pentacles, Knight of Chalices, and Page of Swords. So Pentacles is a yes. Knight of Chalices, that would also be a yes. And then the Page of Swords. That also seems to be a yes. So yeah, solid yes. There's a possibility. I mean, that's one of those questions that I probably phrase differently, just because, like, I don't know if that's a possibility worth pursuing, but yeah. Yeah. And actually, yeah. Well, I mean, gosh, I don't even know the movie, but there's some scene where it's like it's a 1 in a million chance, and then the other character says, "So you're saying there's a chance?" And it's like the odds could be super stacked against you. Um, I don't necessarily get the feeling that it's that bad, but I am noting that because we drew the Two of Pentacles and the Knight of Chalice, I don't think the third was as important. Yeah. Yeah, Two of Pentacles and Knight of Chalices both have a up-down sort of thing going with it. So if you're okay writing those highs and lows, then I think it's fine pursuing that. Some people, like, they've had enough. Other people aren't ready. If you're asking, though, I assume you're ready to take that on. So, yeah. it can happen. Or, yeah. Yeah. Did that clarify, Novella? Sorry to be a bit pessimistic about it. It's just wording of question can sometimes be very important for what kind of answer you get. I guess before I shuffle, I want to make sure we're good on that. I don't think so. Let me read the Page of Swords because that was the other one, but I don't think that was. Yeah, I don't think that was relevant. The thing is with those ups and downs, like I don't know that you would have a solid timeline because at points it would seem good and solid and things were kosher, and then you might be on the outs with each other because of some dispute or something. So I think timeline might just be hard to gauge there. Yeah. Yeah, that was not relevant. Yeah, I don't have anything solid on timeline. I mean, both the Two of Pentacles and Knight of Chalices is sort of you centered. They've learned to balance and cope with the highs and lows. And yeah, so assuming that's you, that's good for making progress. But as far as into the line sort of stuff or what'll hit and when, we don't really have a gauge of that. Yeah. I mean, I was going to suggest we could do another reading for timeline, but I mean, with the rise and fall, I think it'll just be better to write it out. At best, we would probably get like events that will happen. But nah, really all you need now is the gumption to go through with it. And yeah, I get the impression you're someone who can take the highs and lows. So it's just going through it at this point. Okay, she's got her. I guess we'll just highlight this for lack of. Okay, excellent. Because it's a private message and I've got to be secretive. Okay. This is a Prisma question. Okay. And I am not going to mutter it under my breath. Well, I mean, He wanted to maintain the privacy, so might as well just. I mean, there's dangling out there, I get it, and then there's other measures, but yeah, it'll just be easier to do one way or the other. So, I mean, obviously the answer will be somewhat telling. We'll see though. Okay. Okay. It sort of laid itself out like a yes/no spread, and I think that was intentional. So we'll get part of the answer that way. This card seems to carry the most weight. And we might get some light impressions from those, but this one seems to, well, that seems to be the big part. So 6 of Pentacles, Temperance, Knight of Wands. Oh, sorry about that. So if we were reading this as a yes/no, which I think partly we are, 6 of Pentacles would be a yes, Temperance would be a yes, Knight of Wands. Let me check that one. Yeah, that would be a yes. So affirmative, positive towards you and that future. Temperance is the heavy one. So I'm going to focus on that. I mean, 6 of Pentacles, there's a collaboration going on there. Knight of Wands, there's some creative energy. But since this is our focus, we'll read up on that. And I mean, the big thing with Temperance would be moderation, but yeah. And just being, well, not necessarily thorough, but similar to that. Not necessarily to that extent, I guess, is the feeling I get. Maintaining balance, moderation, giving. Learning to maintain a balance is essential to survival. Though temptations will perpetually beckon, most sensual delights will prove sweeter in moderation, and excess can be toxic. Don't numb or harm yourself through overindulgence. If you find yourself with more than you need, a neighbor may benefit from your surplus. By sharing with others, life retains its distinct and magnificent flavors. So, yeah, it's just taking time for them to adjust and ease into it, sort of, is the impression I'm getting. That's the main gist. I mean, the rest of that, that would be kind of awkward, but yeah. So it's going to take them time for sure as they adjust, but they are adjusting. So, yeah. Let me know if we needed any more clarification than that. Okay. Salatine. Feelings, intentions towards me. Yeah, I think we want to test them for this. I'm missing cards from my hand. That's problematic. Okay. Okay. I mean, sometimes the cards are nice and they put themselves near the top or bottom. Sometimes they like it when I search for them. So this card represents you, this one feelings towards you, and then this one intentions. You're not interested in yourself, so we won't flip that unless you really want to. But so for feelings, we've got the Star. Notes there are hope and guidance. I mean, they feel optimistic towards you. Good feelings. Hey, couple life. And then intentions are the Chariot. And the notes there are action and victory. Yes, go ahead and drop your questions. Let's flip it. Okay. And then for you, we got Four of Pentacles. Stability, security. So that might be part of the draw of what appeals to them. You appear to be, well, a source of stability. Okay. A source of stability, which, I mean, is a form of security. We'll read up on the Star and the Chariot. Okay. We'll read up on the Star and the Chariot. I just want to make sure that isn't what it could be. Because some victories are not well-intentioned. So let me just set this down. We'll start with the feelings, with the Star. Oh, wait. Let me share the guide. There we go. Feelings towards you was the Star, the embodiment of hope and guidance. This card is a powerful message of renewal, optimism, and inspiration. When the Star comes up in a reading, you are reminded that this amazing universe is working in your favor. You are encouraged to appreciate everything that life has to offer, including better physical and spiritual well-being. The Star allows you to shine your light in your projects, your relationships, and your work and finances. This card shows up at the right moment as a reminder to have faith in the direction you are guided, and to have faith that dreams do come true. So, I mean, I don't think we got nuance there. We already had, he feels good towards you, optimistic. But let's get the Chariot. That's up a bit, but it'll just be faster. The search. Okay. This card talks about your determination and sticking with the task in order to achieve victory. This card signifies success and a major departure. You need determination and focus as you travel a new direction. A decision has been made, and now you experience the fruits of your hard work. Take control and navigate this new path as your horizons expand. This new direction may happen in any part of your life, from home to relationships to finances. Always know that you are an unstoppable force, especially when you move through life with a balance between your heart, your mind, and your spirit. Okay. Because there's other spins on victory you can do, but as far as this card and this deck is concerned, like, that's all super positive. If anything, he might be annoying to try to turn down and stuff like that. So, because there is definitely a persistence and chasing it down. Don't necessarily know what they're leaving. I mean, if it ended up leading to a relationship or something like that, well, that's definitely a departure from single life. But yeah, as far as I can tell, good feelings, good intentions towards you. Cup of Life. I'll highlight this, but there's obviously the second part about scholarship or funding. That's what I was wondering, whether I break it into just the admitted and then the scholarship funding, or if I put the two together. So no problem. And Destiny Deck is good for this one too. Okay. Gosh, that's one of those cards. Huh? Sorry, it just takes me time when I'm sensing which cards are relevant and then figuring out where in the spread they go and what they mean. I actually just wrapped that up. I think we might be getting both answers, but we've only got two cards. So this is a moderately tempered pair. So there's this primary card. That's the primary answer. But then this secondary card behind it, that'll have a tempering influence. Moderately so, but an influence nonetheless. So we've got Ace of Swords, so success and decisions. The tempering part is justice, balance, and truth are the notes there. Let me read up on those. I know we had the Ace of Swords earlier, but we didn't really dig into that. And I'm guessing that'll be more relevant to you. And yeah, let me... we'll just dig into it. I think I know, but I'll be able to put the words on it better as we're reading. So Ace of Swords is the primary. And obviously, my bad, it doesn't like finding aces. Let's just go for the 2 and scroll up. And we're showing that big. Excellent. So the Ace of Swords symbolizes truth expressed in the highest form. The sword cuts through deception to reveal a powerful message. This card is auspicious for every aspect of your life. It shows up to let you know that new beginnings are on the horizon. Immediate change is manifesting in your life for the better. There is triumph over your past obstacles. The right hand, the hand of giving, holds up a sword which balances a crown, bringing the message of divine light and everlasting strength. The clouds symbolize confusion, yet the mighty sword cuts through any illusion. It is through your thoughts that you connect to your higher wisdom. Yeah, so as I suspect, the answer is yes. You get in. Your hard work pays off. That's what the card is getting at. And you'll be moving on to that new thing. I think the justice is the tempering thing we're going to have. And I think we already touched on it a bit with Ace of Swords. The hard work you've put in is rewarded. I think the justice is basically going to say it's rewarded in kind. Reminds us that for every action, there is a reaction. Our karmic lessons allow us to grow and move towards the purpose and the life we are meant to live. This card benefits those who are deserving and honest, and seeks retribution for those who have been dishonest. The scales of justice signify that if you have made good decisions using integrity and perspective, then the outcome is in your favor. Justice will be served, and order will be restored. Find balance between your home life, your relationships, and your work. Stand tall in your truth and accept all responsibility in your actions. So, the impression I'm getting is that, yeah, you get in. That's the Ace of Swords. As far as funding, scholarship, it's based on what you've done, maybe what you will do. Sure, Lavina, that's fine. So I don't know that I can get more specific than that. Sometimes I don't know what your timeline is before university. If you can put in more effort now, that'll help. Because it'll get rewarded in kind. I do have time today. It'll be okay. But Cup of Life, is that clear enough? Well, there's what's in the past. Can't do much about that. But yeah, if you can put in any more, that'll help. And then it'll be recompensate? Compensated in the future. Hard to see that now, but yeah. Okay. Lavina, go ahead. What is the second question? We've caught up. It does tend to tucker out after a couple hours. No problem. Glad I can help. The city within India part would be the most challenging for me. I'm not sure. It's possible, but we might end up doing that a different way. But yeah, I guess it's the first part because there's a lot of contingencies here. Should I change job? If so, should I change city? If so, what city should I go to? It's kind of a chain reaction, uh, and that's not to complain. It's just, yeah, sometimes it gets cut off after the first one. Um, right. Yeah. Well, and if the answer is not to change, well, so I guess if the answer is to not change the job, do we still have a question on changing the city, or is that just not relevant? That's the impression I'm getting, but and I can set this aside. Okay, not relevant. Didn't think so. So first, should you change job? Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry, I know I'm not looking at cards. I got the impression I couldn't get cards for this, so I'm trying to get the feel if there's something else I can give on this. And we don't really have advice on how to decide whether you should change jobs. Yeah, the impression I'm getting is that this is a decision for you, all yours. Um, we've got no guidance to give on this. Um, so, use whatever metrics you want for weighing pros and cons, yes, no, and whatnot. Um, but yeah, we have no input on that. Why? Even that I'm not quite sure on. Whether it's just um, um, I mean, I guess I could pull cards just for the heck of it, but um, I mean, I'm communing with a higher power, um, and in as much as I'm trying to represent them, if they're not giving an answer, um, that's, I mean, that's their choice. Oh, and I should switch this. Sorry. Um, that was the question. Um, but yeah, just in as much as I'm trying to be to represent them in that answer, um, they just have nothing to say on that. Why do they have nothing to say on it? It could be it's irrelevant. It could be that they really want you to own it, um, not to be, well, guided by the hand and stuff like that. Um, I mean, that would be the common reason, I think, because not every higher power wants to dictate your life. Um, Sometimes it's just they set up guidelines, guideposts, and then you can handle it from there. Um, so yeah, I mean, I was hoping to get an answer on relevance, whether it's moot, but because it could be that you do a job search, whatnot, and then just everything falls through, nothing pans out. There's no opportunities, in which case that's a lost cause. But I'm not getting a sense right or wrong if even that's the case. So, um, yeah. But I mean, it's fundamental to this one that you be the one making the decision um, on whether or not to even do it, and then to see it through. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you've got another question, um, yeah, that's totally fine. I mean, we're at the end of the list right now. And yeah, I was trying to ask that. Um, and I didn't necessarily get well, I mean, go ahead and ask the new question. Um, I guess I was trying to figure out part of that communing was figuring out if there was a right option. Um, and I got the impression that some have consequences, um, that there's some difficulties associated with them. But I didn't necessarily get the sense that there was a wrong option. Um, I don't get the sense that there's like a pitfall or something that's going to ruin you. So, but go ahead and ask the new question. And let me get our camera back. Okay. And go ahead and take your time phrasing that. I'll just fix my mat because that got a little messy. We'll just switch to the new question when you have it. And if you need time, that's fine. Will he and his family agree for continuation of the current trial? I mean, you've already worked out the pros and cons of that. Well, no point in playing housewife if you're not a wife. Let's see. I mean, frankly, so this is me as a person, not the tarot person speaking. Um, they seem a bit controlling, basically. Like they've got their expectations, and my natural instinct is to buck that. Like they don't get to dictate to me. I'm going to do what I think is right, and that's it. So this already rubs me wrong. Um, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the question about agreeing for the continuation. And just socially, I mean, this sort of situation irks me personally. Right. Okay. Just needed to express that. Um, yeah. I mean, if he's still in school, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I haven't picked up cards. I'm still trying to figure out if that's really the question. Because, I mean, we could ask specifically about the continuation. Right. Because, I mean, we could also do a read for him, his family, to get a feel for that stuff. That might be more informative than a yes/no. Yeah. Let me just. It might take me a bit, but I need to figure out the right way of putting this question. Yeah. Or what to focus on. Right. And that makes total sense to me. Right. I mean, you've got values. Being financially stable and secure is an important one. And it's not particularly secure to jump ship on a good job and go to school with your presumably then husband, because that's going to put you in debt potentially. In a sense, that sets you behind. And frankly, if you don't even want some of that stuff, not appropriate. Okay. But what is the question? Right. Okay. I right. I want to. The question is something like, "What will interactions with Varun's family be like going forward?" Because frankly, if he continues with the dominating, or if there's disagreements a whole bunch, then I mean, it's just waiting to fall apart at that point. But if they're going to mellow out, if they're going to be understanding, it's worth continuing the relationship and working with them. I don't know how it'll necessarily play out, but because I could see it going either way, you getting the job or deciding you want to come over and do school. So, what will interactions with Varun's family be like? And that includes Varun himself. With his family be like going forward? Okay. I get the sense this is a cosmic question. So we've got 4 cards. Oh, let's make that bigger. Okay. So these are different aspects, different interactions, what they'll be like. This one seems more central. So they'll all take part in this, and that's probably going to be our most telling thing, but we'll work this way into that. So we've got the Weaver. We've got 9 of Embers, 5 of Embers, and the Composer. Okay. Yeah, first glance, this doesn't look too promising, but we'll get into it. I'm just going to set this down for now. The Weaver's trying to accomplish something. They might press too light or too hard. In this case, probably too hard. 9 of Embers. That would be 9 of Wands. 5 of Embers, 5 of Wands. Not quite sure. I want to say 9 of Embers is like imminent destruction. But like that's a pretty big conflict. 5 of Embers. Yeah, I'm going to have to double check on that one. This isn't swords. Yeah, because that would be birds. This isn't swords, which is more obviously negative, but with the Composer at the center, like they're trying to direct something. They're trying to get something to happen. So, and where that's rubbing us the wrong way already, I imagine that's going to persist, but we'll dig into the cards just to make sure. So, Weaver. Oh. So normally Page of Swords, inspiring, intentional, manifesting future. The Weaver designs intricate tales that spin together into beautiful dances. When this card appears, it indicates that now is a good time to begin developing what you hope to manifest in the near future. The Weaver can represent a powerful mind, one that is inspiring and extraordinary. Remember to be thoughtful with what you hope to achieve. A little exaggeration makes a story sing, but be careful not to weave a tale too hard to maintain. And right now it's a little too hard. Let's go to 9 of Embers. So normally 9 of Wands. Resilience, grit, last stand. The erupting volcano churning out fire in the distance may cause you to rethink your entire plan. You've been through it all, and you are exhausted. And this just seems like the finale you didn't need. This is your last push. You can see the end in the distance, and know that if you can make it there, everything will be okay. When this card shows up, don't let the fatigue set in. You are nearly there. Be resilient and push on with whatever determination you have left to finish your quest. Let's go to the 5 of Embers. This might not be as bad as I was thinking. I'm still a little concerned though. So obviously 5 of Wands. Destruction, conflict, struggle. If this card comes up, it may represent a serious conflict with your outside world. Things may already be in turmoil, and outside forces are inflaming the situation. The brawl is causing you to feel locked in place where the only outcome is complete destruction. Don't let the flames of this fight consume you. You will need your strength for future fights. If you feel like you are being overcome by a single burden, find a way to alleviate the pressure. Talk to those around you. You are likely not alone in this. Yeah, so far, with those 3, I could see this going either way. But let's get the Composer. And this would normally be the Page of Chalices. Playful, harmonious, energetic. The Composer is a card of great synchronicity. Much like the 3 of Lotuses, this card speaks directly to the inner harmony in all things. but here you are taking part in its oneness, generating a conscious stream of harmony. When you pull this card in a reading, it can be a strong sign that things are well aligned for you, and that much of this is because of your own doing. Enjoy the fruits of your great synchronicity. Be energetic and playful, and nurture the harmony of your world. Feed your life with the things that make it sing and dance. So, I mean, they've got good intentions. That's the composer driving all of this. You've got that Five of Embers. I don't know if you have a way to alleviate that. It's probably going to be more, well, talking with people. There's the resilience, grit, last stand. And then there's obviously the Weaver. They've got good intentions. I don't know that I can say much more positive than that. I mean, do you want to have to push through the Nine of Embers if you really think he's worth it? Maybe that is. You're going to have the Five of Embers, all those conflicts. You've already been dealing with some of that. And I mean, you could mitigate some of that. What was the advice there? Talk to those around you. You are likely not alone in this. Whether that's other people or maybe Varun is more sympathetic, I don't know exactly. I mean, the Weaver, you're definitely trying to make something happen, so it makes sense that, well, a marriage happened. So it makes sense that you got that. But right now, I mean, with the rest of that, it's feeling kind of strained. So I don't know. I wouldn't be too hasty. If you can find that support for the Five of Embers, and if he's worth it to you, then yeah, you're going to need that grit for the Nine of Embers. Gosh. Yeah. Take your time. That's going to be a personal decision there. It doesn't get easy, or at least it's not going to be easy for a while. I got the impression that this was for the time frame leading up to, well, marriage, probably the next bit after that for a couple months or so. But yeah, so it might get better in long term if you did decide to pursue that. But yeah, don't be too hasty. But yeah, it's quite the marathon to take on. Yeah, especially with the Weaver. Yeah. They've just got their way of doing things with the composer. And that's currently it's not our way. That's the only issue. So, but yeah, marriage is on the cards. Yeah, we've been through that. And yeah, we've talked about it. Take your time, talk with people. And yeah. Um, yeah, there's definitely that. And even if the right people agree, there's a good chance other people will still disagree. And that'll just be more of the five of embers conflict. But okay. Okay. Then yeah, take your time figuring out that step. Um, and that might determine whether or not you go down that whole route or not. So yeah. Okay. No problem. Um, hey, Mary. Yeah, we can answer that. Um, oh, like this specific deck, or just all of them? And that's fine. All of them. Okay. So the first one I got was, and I'll type this in, you should be able to see it, was The Lost Forest. Um, this one had Jungian themes. It's got pretty art. I love it. Why is this? Sorry, it's not letting me, because this is going to be, well, open a Google Doc. Let me, yeah, that's probably going to be better than having to sign in and all that. Um, and yeah, that's okay. Let me. I don't. Gosh. Oh no, I can give you all the names. Authors I can't necessarily do off the top of my head. I would have to check. Just let me share this instead. I was going to just send it in the chat, but it's making me sign in, and I don't know all the stuff it asks from me. So that's yeah. So I mean, different people make decks. So the Lost Forest, and specifically was the second edition. This was a Kickstarter follow up to a previous one. I can't remember her name, but if you search, you'll probably be able to find that. That had, well, actually, all of these would be Kickstarters. So maybe I'll just put that at the top because Kickstarter decks. This one has Jungian inspiration. That would be the thing. Beautiful art. It's one of my favorites. The Destiny deck was the second one I got. That one, oh gosh. I mean, the author's name, it's Lisa, but I don't remember the rest. She's got a new dex. Lucine, I want to say. I can't remember what the what I think there's 2 decks in this one, in the new one. But so that's and let me zoom in a bit so you guys can see a bit better. Let's go a little farther. Yeah, that's good enough. But yeah, the author's name is Lisa. I don't remember her last name. But all of these were on Kickstarter. She's got a new Kickstarter. I don't think it's ended yet. But then there was, I mean, the other 2 were a duo. So he made Prisma Visions is the name of that one. That's by James R. Eads. So it's funny because this looks like reeds. And this follows, I mean, I want to say this is like Van Gogh style. That's the way I think of it, at least. But so that follows the traditional tarot. This one uses elements. It's elemental, so like embers and whatnot. Destiny deck, that does the traditional. So does Prisma. He also created Cosmovisions. Similar style, similar Van Gogh style. The interesting thing about that one, of course, is basically the reskinning that he did of all the cards. So like the Major Arcana, they've got their new names, and then he's got the suits of birds and trees and whatnot instead of swords or skies, stuff like that. How to describe that? Different namings. So those are the notes on that. I know James has a store, an online store that you can probably get those decks if you wanted. Lisa's got a website. She might still have some copies of Destiny. If not, I mean, there's definitely her new decks coming out. You might be able to catch the Kickstarter. The Lost Forest, I don't know what the current state of that would be. I don't remember if she has a website or not, so that'll just take some searching if you were interested in that one. But those are the 4 decks I use. I have a 5th. I kind of like the Major Arcana, but I just do not love how the Minor Arcana turned out. The swords and the cups and whatnot. So, I mean, frankly, at some point I might donate that, but it's probably good to have a spare deck around in case I want to do some edging or something. I can practice with those. So, but so that's oh shoot, I can't see that chat that way. Let me check that way. But yeah, so those are the decks I use. Let me catch up to chat on the phone. Oh, that's tragically small. Okay, that's a little better. And yes, we had Mary. Okay, good. Oh yeah, it's just smaller to see there, and I can't go back. But then Mary has her question. Let's highlight that. There we go. It's going to be a little awkward using it through the phone, but No problem, Lavina. And of course, for anybody else interested, it'll be on the video. So let's go ahead and hide that. And let's hook up the other guide. Oh, thanks. Thank you. You asking me out again, or is there? So with another. And that's fine that you're new. You don't have to like or sub or anything. That's just nice. So. I mean, I've seen when I started this, I was reading up on how to do the business, to do like social media and whatnot. And like, that's good for the business. But there's a certain sort of artificial sense to that, which isn't necessarily bad. But I think the way I want it to spread is just word of mouth. Like, it worked for you. You share this because it worked for you. I'd rather have that kind of referral rather than I liked this guy, I'll share his stuff. I prefer, well, the more meaningful connection, I guess. As far as being selfless, well, I mean, right now, I've sort of got the time, so it's easy to be a little more free with it. I'm currently job searching. Sorry, Mary, I will answer your question. I am naturally selfless. I don't necessarily extend myself a whole lot. So when the opportunity does happen, it's easy to go all out for me. But yeah. And I guess at least with respect to tarot, like this is a newer thing for me. So in the beginning, it wasn't necessarily skill or anything that I was offering for free. I mean, there's the connection that's always been there. But yeah. Thanks. I guess, Lavina, I don't know what cent percent means. But yeah. But we can talk more about that another time. Mary, I should answer your question. Thanks, Lavina. Oh, thanks. I would hope not. There are some perks to diversity. So Mary, on your question, they're not necessarily mutually exclusive things. Will he be asking me out again? That could be near far future. See you, Lavina. Whereas is he with another lady? You too. That could be very, well, present tense. So I guess, do we want to clarify that in any way? Because he could be with someone now, yes. But he can also be with you if that ends in a month or two, whatever, and he thinks of you and asks you out. So, um, okay. Um, just trying to figure out which deck is most appropriate for this. And I feel like Prism is the better choice. Um, since you're new, I'll just let you know. Um, I go through figuring out which cards are the right ones, sensing them. So that part is awkward for new people because they don't know what I'm doing. Um, and then once I have the cards, I have to figure out where they are and what they mean, what that place in the spread represents. Um, no problem. Thank you. It's fun doing reads. Okay, we found the cards. I need to figure out their place and purpose in the spread. Okay. I am in America. Utah, to be more precise. Oh, come on. We want to show everything. There we go. Let me. Okay. So both of these pairs are tempered pairs. So there's the card in front that has a primary. That's the main gist of what's going on here. And the card behind it has a tempering influence. It moderates it in some way. So that's happening for both of these. This down here is a footnote for this. I sort of get the sense of a progression left to right. And then this one, I'm not exactly sure. I get the impression you'll know what this is speaking to. But it doesn't have a direct spot in the answer to your question about him and what will happen. So we'll go ahead and flip cards. 5 of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. Let me go ahead and spread those so we can read them. Sort of. Here we've got the Magician, tempered by Page of Chalices. Well, we'll get the footnote afterwards. We've got the Fool at the end. Not as derogatory as it sounds. We've got the Ace of Swords footnote on the 5 of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. We'll flip this one later. We could now, but it'll read better at the end when we get that for you. So let's see if we can get this part at least. And yeah, let me set this down so I can pull out the guide. I mean, the Fool deals with new beginnings, but I sort of get the impression that you'll be on your own at that point. So maybe there's a learning experience here. Nope, too far. Five of Swords. Confrontation, disagreement, pacifying anger. Confrontation is inevitable and can even be an honorable, an upfront way to achieve one's ends. The two locked in combat are practiced warriors of this art, and their baleful dance pays tribute to the intricacies of strife and competition. It's referring to the picture. The Five of Swords, however, encourages you to lay down your weapons. When you pacify your anger, you may be surprised to notice a different path, that of equanimity and transcendence. Let yourself be soothed. Follow the butterfly. And that's referring to the picture. If you want me to zoom in, but there's a third character, drop down his weapon, and he's investigating a butterfly now. But so the idea there is that some disagreement is good, but you might need to step away from that and open your mind up to alternatives. This is tempered by Ace of Pentacles. So let's see what that influence is. This way. Material reward, new adventure, abundance. When you see a tantalizing opportunity, take it. This card promises great material reward for projects undertaken, particularly if there's something novel or unexplored. Though you may not be able to see over the wall and divine what you are truly choosing, dare to take the road less traveled. You may find that it pays off in the long run. Rise up to the challenge and begin your new adventure. So that almost seems like the choice from the Five of Swords. When you take that step back, you'll see the alternative. Yeah, I mean, you were asking about him, but that seems more. I'm getting the feeling that that's guidance for you. And then, yeah, when you take that step back, there's a new prospect, a new adventure waiting. Let's get the footnote on that before we move on. So the Ace of Swords. Mental clarity, determination, intellectual power. The Ace of Swords cleaves through indecision and deceit. It is the mental clarity that comes with keen intelligence. It may indicate an epiphany. When you pull this card, you may be driven with a determination born of ruthlessness. Examine your motivations and ensure you're not being too tyrannical. Master the sword and wield its mighty power for good. Again, talking to the art. This deck and guide likes to do that. Yeah, I think that's just referring to the step back and the clarity that comes with that space that you create to then look at things more clearly. Yeah, I think you've also got a hint here at examine your motivations. So that's a hint on what to do when you do step back, and then you'll see another path as well. Moving on, we've got the Magician, which is a manifester. I mean, we'll read him, but he has the ability to create. Bold, self-determined, skilled. The Magician is bold with his decisive power. He is self-determined and self-confident, and possesses a vision he truly believes should be realized. He is passionate, creative, and above all, deeply connected to his surroundings, to his vision, to his life. When you receive this card, expect to receive a bolt of energy. What you are doing is worthwhile, and you have the means within you to accomplish it. This is not a time for doubt, but for action. That's probably the new venture that you start from the Ace of Pentacles. Let's get the tempering influence on the Page of Chalices. Giving open heart, emotional well-being. Something as simple and pure as a bowl of water can initiate a journey of the heart. Don't hoard your, and that was referring to the art, so don't worry too much about that. Don't hoard your emotions for fear of exhausting them. Take what little you have and give freely. You will find that whatever you expend will be returned to you in some grander, more compelling form. Surround yourself with love and light. Embark. So, I think that's, well, I mean, this is paired and tempering the magician. So, there's a certain emotional aspect of giving yourself. I assume at that point that you'll have the emotion to give. Or maybe you are scared of exhausting yourself. But yeah, you'll be giving of your emotion and you'll have the energy from the magician to follow through and make it happen. Let's go on to the Fool. The first card, possibly the most well-known. New beginning, spontaneity, leap of faith. The Fool represents a new beginning, striking out naively on a bold new adventure. You may be filled with unlimited optimism, a feeling in your heart that you cannot fail. This may prove misguided, and in due time you might find your idealism tempered by painful experience. So approach with caution. Decide whether taking this risk is worth making yourself vulnerable in an unfamiliar setting. If the answer is yes, show no fear. Only those who choose to journey will ever discover new horizons. So yeah, it's interesting to get that when you've already got the Ace of Pentacles early on. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, it can happen. And these might be speaking to different things. I mean, Ace of Pentacles, Pentacles normally speaks to material stuff. So it's not too odd for it to speak in those terms, but that could be a new relationship. It could be the Fool that's speaking to a new relationship. I'm more inclined to think the Ace of Pentacles is referring to just a different area of life that you end up pursuing. And then, of course, the Fool is giving you the option. If you do choose to take that, you don't have to. So yeah, as far as this guy, it seems like you probably want to disconnect, take a step back. Yeah. And then let's get that one card. So this, Five of Pentacles. So this is usually financial loss, hardship. We'll read up, but yeah, I guess that's speaking to you in some way. And we'll just focus that real quick. But yeah. Okay. Five of Pentacles. Financial loss, humility, vanquishment. And finances, I mean, that's typical for Pentacles, obviously. This is more in the context of relationships. So, a troubling card, the Five of Pentacles, warns of utter vanquishment. This may be a result of your own mishandling of a situation or the sheer unhappy randomness of fate. Either way, you have reached rock bottom, and you simply must accept your unmitigated defeat. As you learn the bitter lessons of humility, your true needs become starkly apparent. This is an opportunity for you. Everything that had power over you has been razed to the ground. Rally and amass what little you need to start again. Okay. So, Mary, questions? Any follow-up? You were asking about him, but it seems more just advice for you. And it almost seems like you'll be taking a step back from the romance scene, focusing elsewhere. Not to say that it won't ever happen. It's just not something to worry about right now. And maybe that's a lot to process, which is understandable. We had quite the slew of cards. Okay. If you need to come back to the video, it'll always be there. So, and I mean, if anybody has questions, now is the time to ask. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay. I think we'll call that good for today. It has been quite a few hours since we started. So again, streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday, same time for now. But I am job hunting, so in the future that will change. When it does, I'll start letting you guys know. But yeah, hope you have a great day, a great weekend, and until next time.